It's official. Thomas Frank is finally the head coach of Tottenham Hotspur, and he faces a massive, massive task in front of him over the next few months. And finally, the Tottenham Hotspur social media announced him last week, and we had to wait a few days to see him pictured in Spurs shirt, but it's been worth the wait, and it was great to see his interview today on the Spurs official Twitter. And guys, I'm going to take you through the key quotes that he talked about in his initial interview. And if you did enjoy this video, when you get to the end of it, of course, please smash the thumbs up. It does help the channel out. But guys, let me know what you thought. Thomas Frank's first interview. Let's get straight into things. Let's discuss the man himself. And he has said that the feeling of being new head coach is extraordinary. He is absolutely buzzing to be joining Tottenham Hotspur. I wouldn't expect to hear otherwise, but he is excited by the prospect. And as we know from previous clips, he absolutely loves this squad. Even when he was the Brentford manager and we played them last in the league, he was really, really bigging up our players, the likes of Kulusevski, the likes of Maddison, the likes of Solanke. And he goes on to talk about the fact that the players are now winners, and now that we need to do the best to become serial winners in the future. And that links with that Daniel Levy interview that we saw yesterday posted on the Spurs social media about, the fact that Daniel Levy wants to win the Premier League and he wants Spurs to win the Champions League, and that the Europa League isn't enough, and that determination to go on and build something at this club. And Thomas Frank has that winning mentality. And yes, it could be argued that he didn't obviously win any trophies with Brentford. But does that mean that he can't achieve that feat at Tottenham Hotspur? I'll let you guys discuss in the comments, but it is certainly an interesting talking point. And the other thing I wanted to pick up as part of this interview is the fact that he also said that Ange Postecoglou will forever be a legend in the Tottenham Hotspur, and that he built the foundation for this team. He went on to talk about the likes of Archie Gray, the likes of Dominic Solanke, the likes of Lucas Bergvall that Ange brought in and instilled these sort of values in the team, this feel-good factor. And he's hoping to build on that as the new Tottenham Hotspur manager. And I'm very excited because he then went on to talk about as well the fact that it's all about winning. It's all about winning, and his philosophy is very much about front-footed attacking football. And as we saw at Brentford, that front line of Visser and Mbeumo and Sade, who also came in and made a massive impact at Brentford, he can do big things with Dominic Solanke. Brennan Johnson, of course, had his best season yet at the club, our top scorer, winning, scoring multiple goals, including in the Europa League final. And I like this interview. It was a 10-minute interview. Guys, go and check it out. I was a bit scared of copyright showing the whole thing, so I thought I'd bring out some quotes to show you guys. But I'm sure you've all seen the interview itself on the Spurs official channel. But guys, I've seen a lot of negative reaction about the fact that we shouldn't have sacked Ange, and I did feel similar. I know I spoke about it in my live stream last week, but we have to move on. We have to back this manager, and not only just back this manager as the fans, but back him in the transfer window. Give him what he wants. Do we want to go and get Eberechi Eze for a 70 million buyout clause? I would suggest we probably should, and this is the best time to do so. Are we going to look at Mbeumo and for Brentford? And obviously, he's familiar with that kind of player. Visser, we've also been linked with. Semenyo. I'm going to do a transfer roundup video of the latest transfer links tomorrow. So let me know in the comments if you guys want to see that as well, because we have been linked with so many different players. We've been linked with number 6s. We've been linked with centre backs. There's a lot to digest and pick out the most relevant and reliable sources. But I can do a video on that tomorrow, guys. Make sure you have your subscriptions turned on for that one. But getting back into the quotes again, as I said, the intention is to play aggressive, front-footed football, and Thomas Frank very much instilled that into Brentford over the few years he was there. And let's not forget, he was there for a number of years, guys, and he sort of cemented Brentford from, well, he was originally the assistant manager. Let's not forget that. He came from assistant manager to the head coach of Brentford. took them from the Championship to the Premier League, and has cemented them as an established Premier League club. You think of Brentford, you don't really think about relegation. Yes, now he's left. Would they be in a relegation fight? You could argue, especially if they lose Mbuemo, Vissa, then they will potentially be in trouble. But in terms of establishing them as a Premier League side, Brentford are seen as a mid-table club every single year now, and that's a lot of that has to do with Thomas Frank and he's a proper tactician. I'm excited. You've seen his interviews. If not, go and have a look on Monday Night Football, where he talks about how this forward-facing attacking football, always playing aggressive, always playing on the front foot. And this is what he wants to play, aggressive front-footed football. And I think it's going to work well with the likes of Brennan Johnson and the likes of, Dominic Solanke. And hopefully even, Maddison fits into that and the 10, Kulusevski comes into it. It's very exciting times. Maybe he can make a Maddison and a Kulusevski work in the same system, for example. Potentially Maddison and Kulusevski interchanging at the 10. Perhaps you put Kulu on the wing sometimes. Maddison can also play off the wing. Solanke up front. He's saying he's going to get Solanke scoring bags of goals. And of course, we only saw Solanke score, I believe it was 9 Premier League goals last season. I think he should be aiming for 15 to 20 goals. And I don't think that's unrealistic, under this manager. So it's exciting times, honestly, guys. I really do think it's exciting times. Guys, let me know what you thought of the first interview with Thomas Frank. I'm going to read out a couple more quotes that I thought were really, really interesting. He also said, I think it's a very good squad. I'm very excited about starting working. And there's a big potential. When I say talented, it's also not just talented, but a young squad. He said it's a mix of more experienced players. Solanke, he said he's a big fan of Solanke in terms of his abilities. And he said, I'm sure we'll make him score goals. As I just said, I think we could see double the goals for Solanke this season. He said, I'm sure, I think it's all players that we need to develop and make perform on the highest level. Bergvall, Archie Gray, Odebert, Udoji, listed quite a few of the younger players in the squad. He said, I think they all have a very high ceiling. And that's the thing. Thomas Frank is very good at developing young players and blossoming them into high quality players that he essentially rises their value. And Mbuemo wasn't really talked about before he went to Brentford. And suddenly Mbuemo's arguably got a 50 to 60 million pound price tag on him. He's a very, very good manager. He develops players well. He's a very good people person. Again, if you haven't seen the clips, go and look at him in the changing room, giving his inspirational speeches before big matches. I really like the look of Thomas Frank. And I don't want to get ahead of myself, of course, because, we could try and, glaze over the fact that things can go wrong. But I think this manager does really seem like a good fit. And Levy and Vinay in their interview the other day, although I didn't agree with all of what they said they had a 24-man list for the managerial vacancy, and Thomas Frank was the top of their list. So you'd argue that this is obviously great news, that we've got our top target. And, guys, let's see if the board actually back this manager, because I think we talk about it every time we start a new cycle, but this time that squad is not good enough for Champions League, Premier League, Carabao Cup and FA Cup, with also the World Cup coming up next summer. I mean, it's massive. We need to make sure we have 2 decent starting 11s, one very good starting 11 and another one that can back it up if we have injuries and suspensions, like we were very unfortunate with last year. It's so important to back this manager from the get-go. It's so important to invest now. You look at Man City, you look at Liverpool, 115 million on Verts done. But it's important that we back the manager. Some of these rival clubs are spending hundreds of millions of pounds and we haven't bought anyone yet. It's not panic stations yet, of course, but he needs the pre-season to be training with these new players. And it's so important we get up and running soon. So I'll do a transfer roundup video tomorrow for you lovely people. Please do smash the thumbs up if you liked this little quote summary. Please do subscribe if you want that transfer news updates tomorrow. And I will see you again very, very soon. As always, remember, come on you Spurs!